Hello, and welcome to Dedicated Devoted. I'm your host, Jared Colombell.
And I'm your co-host, Cora Colombell.
And today we are going to have three special guests. Cora, who are those three special guests?
Our three children.
Our three children, whom you love dearly.
For sure.
Good.
All right, before we unpack today's episode, just a reminder of how you can support the podcast. If you haven't already, please check out dedicateddevoted.com to learn more about the podcast and some awesome ways that you can support us and how to live a dedicated, devoted life. On to the show.
Well, today's a very special day. It's actually a very special day for a couple of different reasons. One is we haven't actually had a podcast in quite some time. We got fully acclimated to our new state. And on today's episode, we got a special guest, my little buddy, drum roll please, for little man, Parker Colombell, son of Jared Colombell. Parker, why don't you say hello to the audience today?
Hello.
Today, we're going to be able to have a little bit of a conversation, and this is a Father's Day gift to me, having my dearest children on the podcast. So I'm excited to be able to do that, but also we have not been able to podcast in quite some time. And so on today's program, I want to make sure that we touch base on all the different things that are happening in our lives, how God is kind of working through our circumstances, and looking at how my children and my wife have been such a blessing to me in my life. And so as a Father's Day gift, I am looking forward to today's episode. So there has been a lot of change, as I had mentioned. The biggest one is what, Cora?
I think Parker could say it.
What's the biggest one, Parker? What's the biggest change in our lives right now from the last time I podcasted till now?
That we changed podcasting, that we went to a different state.
We went to a different state. And what is that state?
That we are doing podcasts and that we can't do them that much, but we're still doing them, but in a different state.
Yeah, and what's the state, Parker? What state are we in now?
South Dakota.
South Dakota, that's right. Much different from our previous state of New Mexico. Would you say so?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you also let the audience know if they have really good chili here? Do they have really good red and green chili here?
No.
No, not like our previous state. So yes, one of the biggest things that has changed in our life from the last time that we had the ability to jump on and be able to interact with our podcast is that we had the opportunity. God put us in a position where we were able to relocate to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Quite a big move for us, one that I was very excited about. I know that my family had a lot of anxiety, but we were able to, I would say, fairly seamlessly uproot from our hometown of New Mexico all the way to Sioux Falls, and it was quite the journey. Cora, how was that journey for you?
Well, the actual journey itself was long when I think about it because, we drove here and that was about 15, 16 hours. And typically that's not too bad. But, in the past we've done it together. We've never really driven separately, but because this was such a big move and we had an extra vehicle we wanted to take, we had to drive separately. So I've never driven 15, 16 hours alone or, on a trip. I guess I wasn't alone because I had the 3 kids and 2 ginormous dogs. So that was probably one of the hardest things was just having 2 really big dogs in the back of my trunk and having to drive that many miles.
And you're also used to playing navigator rather than driver.
Yeah, I like to sleep.
Yeah.
So normally I sleep quite a bit and then I just wake up and where are we at?
And so Parker, you got to go in the same vehicle that Mom went with and then that Mom was in. And then also the dogs were in. How was that for you?
It was kind of annoying because we had the cat. She was meowing. The dogs would bark if they saw another dog coming out another window. And then we also had the hamster, but that wasn't annoying because the hamster was just quiet.
But what did we have to do with the cat eventually?
Give her to our dad because she was meowing so much.
Yeah, because every time she'd hear our voice, she'd start to cry. She'd meow. And so eventually I had to give her to Dad to take care of her because I just couldn't deal with the crying all the whole time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So I ended up traveling with the cat. And so kind of rolling back time here real quick, just painting a quick picture. I got an opportunity to be able to come up to South Dakota and to take over a factory that was in need of some leadership. And we had a really great opportunity to do 2 trips. So Cora and I, the family, actually was able to spend the new year here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It was quite cold. We were able to come up here as a family and get to explore the area a little bit. And we were making the decision on whether or not we wanted to move. And so that was a big thing that we did as a family. And then we had the opportunity, Cora and I did, to come back and to do a little bit of a house hunting trip. And so there was a little bit of a heartache in the process because things did not go as planned. I was hoping that this would be a very seamless move, and it was very hard. First off, emotionally, is it fair to say that this was a really hard move for us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think just, we've moved in the past, but it's just been miles away from where we currently lived. Like I've never lived out of the state. So this was pretty big for me.
It was big for me as well.
Yeah.
Was it big for you, Parker?
Yeah.
For me, I felt a little bit like a foreigner in a foreign land when I got here. And I knew that I had my family, and that was going to be the most important thing, that we as a family were able to come together. I'm very grateful for that. And we selected a home. The home did not actually work out, so we had to do 2 moves. The big thing that I was trying to accomplish was to bring everybody up here in one fell swoop. And that did happen. It seemed like it wasn't going to happen. A lot of things went off the rails, but I got to say, God was really good, and he got us all up here together as a family. And I'm really grateful for where he's put us at the current time. And so things are going fairly well with work. I think everybody's getting acclimated. And so Parker, today I want to hear a little bit from you. Mom, do you want to hear from Parker a little bit today?
Oh, for sure.
Fantastic. So Parker, how has your life changed from relocating from New Mexico to South Dakota?
Like it's a smaller home, but it's like we had a bigger property, smaller home. It's kind of hard because when you're trying to go out, you can't go that far because there's you don't know the place. And it's hard because at our old house, the old house in South Dakota, it didn't work out, so that's hard. And then in New Mexico, you had a lot of land, but here, it's just a little land, so you don't know, everywhere, so you have to be.
Yeah, to paint a picture, the property that we have is not even close to how big it was. Do you miss roaming the forest in New Mexico? Do you miss that at all?
Yes.
That was probably the best experience. The property that we had before was some acreage, and now we don't have that. Another thing is our doggos don't have the same land to roam, and that's been quite hard.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure out how to appease them and make them happy. And now you guys are becoming accustomed to walking them and then taking them to the restroom. You didn't have to do that in New Mexico, did you?
No, we didn't.
I got a question for you. How many times in New Mexico did you pick up dog doo-doo?
0.
0. Why?
Because we had a big property and they just go. But here, if it goes, it can get bad.
You got to pick it up, huh? Because we're in the city and they don't allow that. Good neighbors pick up dog doo-doo. So your life has changed a little bit from moving from New Mexico to South Dakota. How about with school?
It's
different or good? What do you think?
School was easy, but at New Mexico is pretty hard.
Was it pretty hard?
Yeah.
Do you miss all your friends?
In New Mexico?
Yeah, in New Mexico.
I mean, I didn't have that much.
Really? Well, then you didn't miss them. If you don't have that many, you don't have to miss them, right?
I only had Thatcher and Keenan, which were the only 2.
Well, you had a best buddy. You're forgetting about him. He used to pick you up, squeeze you.
Colton.
Yep. He could toss you up in the air, right? He could bench you. You miss him?
Yeah, but we still call each other.
That's right. It's important for you to maintain those relationships, and I'm excited for you to be able to forge new relationships in a new city.
And the school before was a charter school, so that one was, and it was really strict, huh? So that one was a lot harder. But out here, you feel like you've been able to have more playtime and just be a little bit more like a kid, right? Would you say that this school you feel more like you have a little bit of wiggle room versus the last school?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what are some things that you miss about New Mexico?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And it could be anything you miss.
Like places to eat?
It could be anything.
Anything.
It could be people, it could be places, it could be a thing. How about give me 3 things you miss about New Mexico?
So I miss, the first thing I miss is Sadie salsa.
Sadie's salsa.
Ooh,
Oh,
I miss
man,
that too.
That's a good one.
That is a really good
We're
one.
going to have that shipped here, though. Sadie's salsa. Okay, that's number 1. What else do you miss?
The second one I'd probably say is grandma.
Grandma. Okay,
Oh.
that's a good one. Okay, Sadie's
You
salsa.
hear that, Grandma? Your little grandbaby misses you. You got to come up and see us.
Yeah.
Parker, this is a good time to plug that because Grandma, when she hears this, you're going to tug on her little heartstrings and she's going to come up and have to see us, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's the third thing you miss, or another thing?
Grandpa.
Grandpa. Okay, that's really good.
Wow.
Actually.
Yeah, that's a good one, Parker. You missed something, and it's okay. You made a little bit of a mistake, right? You said Sadie salsa, but you didn't mention sopapillas. Shame on you. You don't like sopapillas?
I mean,
Oh,
it has to be with honey.
It has to be with honey.
But we can make sopapillas.
We
here,
can make
though. We
sopapillas.
can't make Sadie salsa, but
We're
we can,
going to.
We can make sopapillas. So
Parker, those are some great answers, by the way. I miss some of those same things. I think what you're pointing out is that home is really where family is. Mm-hmm. We don't miss the geographical location so much, or some of the places and the food, but man, we do miss family. One of our big things has always been to try to remain close to family, and it's hard. Hopefully you take that to heart and you remember when you get older, being near family is going to make you feel the most comfortable. And so on a Father's Day, I want to say, I really enjoy having you be part of my family. I would miss you tremendously. I will miss you tremendously. When you grow up, go off to be a man, go to college, whatever it is that your little heart desires, I am definitely going to miss that. So those are definitely things to miss in New Mexico.
now, what are some things that you find nice about South Dakota?
Oh, that's a good one.
Sometimes it's hot, which is really nice.
You like that? Okay. What
Ooh,
are
the
some other
warmness,
things
yeah.
that you think are nice about here? Or that you like?
Or that mom has brought you to do. There's been a few new things here that we've explored. We haven't explored the state quite as much as we hope, not yet, but there's new things that you've been able to explore.
Going to the swimming pool is something that I like because it's fun.
It is fun.
And then
Ooh, he's thinking deeply. How about riding your bike? I have never seen you ride your bike as much as I have down here.
yeah.
That seems like one that you're enjoying, right?
You have another answer? Okay. All right.
That is totally fair. Well, life has certainly changed for all of us, and I hope that this is an area and a blessing. What I'm going to do is I want to provide a little bit of advice to you as a dad. So we're going to have our next guest on, and she is before you leave, just hold on, Parker. We're going to bring our next guest into the studio, who is my middle child, Elsie. And before she comes in, I want to provide a little bit of advice to you, Parker. As a dad, I want to say there's many things that you need to know, and I hope that this podcast serves as sort of a digital journal. And when you get older, you're able to hear it. Lord willing, I'm still here, right? I'm still here in your life, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So some of the things that I want to share with you are just little tidbits and advice, and I'm going to give some to your other siblings as well. And hopefully when you re-listen to this, you're able to get a little bit of advice that I provide to you and your sisters, and then use that in your life. One of the things I wanted to share with you as a young man that you have yet to explore is the importance of loving God and putting him first. Did you know that Dedicated Devoted is a ministry outreach of Mom and I's to try to encourage people in the way that they believe? Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, so Dedicated Devoted is all about helping others to live a dedicated, devoted life. That term, dedicated, devoted, it's kind of one word that I smashed together. It means that we need to be dedicated and devoted to the Lord Jesus Christ. We need to love God first and above everything else. What do you think of that, Parker? Is that important to love the Lord, thy God?
Yes, because you can get saved and then you go to heaven.
That's correct. That's a great answer, Parker. You know, people don't have a taste for God anymore. The Bible says that man seeks after the darkness, They don't want anything to do with God, and it's a very concerning thing. But as your dad, I know that that's a journey that you have to go through. Would you say that's really important, Mom?
Yes, definitely. It's very
Loving
important.
God above everything else. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is don't overthink life too much. You're a young man. You probably just want to ride bikes, build Legos, and just hang out all day. Is that false? No, you're smiling. Okay. Don't overthink life. Life is an amazing gift given to us by God. And I want to make sure that you don't overthink it. I'll provide some advice to your siblings, and hopefully later on when you get to listen to this, you'll be able to put a whole picture together of Dad's little advice / wisdom. Today I get to provide that because it's Father's Day, right, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, to my honey, thank you for allowing me to be a father. As your mom had said today, right? That funny joke that she shared, right?
Yeah. You're not my father.
You're not my father. That's right. So, Parker, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yes, definitely.
Up next, we have the one, the only, the capybara loving Elsie. Elsie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good.
Drum roll. We didn't do our
Drum roll. It's Elsie. Yay. Mom made it very clear that we had to give you a drum roll because we gave Parker a drum roll.
Mm-hmm.
Elsie, I am very excited to have you on the podcast. And you are holding something that looks super expensive. What is that?
A capybara.
A capybara. What is the capybara wearing on its head?
Golden headphones.
Golden headphones.
It's a stuffed animal.
It's a stuffed animal. That's right. Because if this was a real capybara, we'd be concerned.
Yeah.
Elsie, do you like capybaras?
Yes.
What do you like about them and why?
That they're lazy, and crocodiles, they could go on top of crocodiles' heads and they won't attack them.
Well, I never knew what one was until the other day when you won this at the, what is it, the little
The
carnival?
fair, the carnival.
Yeah, the little carnival. Then she knew what it was, and I had no clue. And he's cool. He's wearing headphones. Or she, I don't know.
She's wearing headphones. That's actually a very good mention because, Elsie, today we're talking about our move to South Dakota. Our listeners have come to know that we made a tremendous move from New Mexico down to South Dakota.
So, Charlie's wrong. Sorry, wrong kid.
That one is Elsie.
I know. Sorry, Elsie. So, Elsie, how has your life changed since moving to South Dakota?
There's more freedom in school.
More freedom in school? Okay.
Yeah, so like in school it's not harder.
Okay, so this is kind of good because you were not in the room when we were talking to your brother, and this is kind of what I was pointing out. Parker didn't say it, but I think that the school that you guys are going to now, you definitely could be more of like a kid versus the last school. Would you say that?
Yep.
Yeah. So what would you say they let you do more of that you didn't really get at the last school?
They let us have, they let us go on buses sometimes to do that stuff, and they let us have school lunches, and they let us have field trips.
Yes, because the last school we had to make lunch, huh? Mm-hmm. Every time there was no school lunches. So here you guys get to pick what you want for school lunch. They have a few options, correct?
Yep.
And then what you were saying about field trips is they've taken you to go see like the middle school, since now you're going to be in middle school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody is graduating upward.
Yeah. So now we're going to have
Awesome.
our kids in 3 different schools. So that's pretty exciting. So now,
well, can I do something here real quick?
Yeah.
I would like to share a quick memory of when we first got here, something that I thought was significant. So my children have never really taken the bus.
No.
And they've never been to a bus stop.
No.
And I got to watch my kids go to the bus stop for the first time in 0-degree weather. Mm-hmm. And it was the most funny thing I've seen in a while. And our eldest, she absolutely hated it. And she asked if we could drive her to the bus stop. She begged us. She actually bribed me. She said, "Dad, can I give you money? Drive me to school. I will pay you cash." And I said, "This is what kids deal with everywhere." That was something that was very common for me growing up. Mm-hmm. The old bus stop. So, Elsie, welcome to the public school system.
And the bus stop was just right behind the house. So
it wasn't even that far.
wasn't anywhere far at all.
But we did see them almost get blown away almost every single time they went.
Yeah. No, it was cold. It was definitely cold. But Elsie was the most responsible one about trying to get out there on time. I think Charlize kind of got left behind a few times. So I do appreciate that about you, Elsie. You're responsible.
That's right. Hey, Elsie, so from relocating from New Mexico to South Dakota, we talked a little bit earlier with Parker, and he talked a little bit about the property. Is it very different being in this house versus the house that we had in New Mexico?
Yeah, because our other house in New Mexico, it was like, I don't know why, but I feel like it had a little bit more space, but obviously not. And it was pretty nice out there because we had a big old property and we could run around and we had swings and all of that stuff. But here we don't have that big of backyards.
I would agree on that. Do you know what we have here, though? We have the family. And home is where the family is. You don't think that's important?
It is, but...
But what?
But she prefers swings.
Okay, Elsie. Did you prefer the open space?
Yeah.
Don't worry. The Lord will give us something, I'm sure, that'll be really good for us. Right now, we're in a lease.
Yes.
And it's been a blessing. We shared with our listeners that the home that we're going to purchase didn't work out. And now we're in a lease. But I think God's going to do something pretty great for us, Elsie.
Yeah, we're definitely looking around to find something that you guys can run on.
Yeah, and maybe we can have a capybara farm. What do you think of that?
I don't know.
South Dakota's first capybara farm. Elsie can raise capybaras and sell them.
Nice.
I don't even know if they can live here, Elsie, but you'll have to educate me later.
So, Elsie, what are some things that you miss about New Mexico?
Good
I asked your
question.
brother 3. Do you think you could give me more than that, or what do you think?
I miss like the mountains.
Okay, you miss the mountains.
There was way more trees, which made there was way more shade. So like trees in the shade.
Okay, that's like where you lived and all that. There was a lot of trees and shade.
Yeah, and then the weather.
Okay.
Because it was mostly warm, and then here it's very cold in the winters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like instead of snowing a lot, it's windy a lot in the winter, which makes it cold here. And I miss my friends.
You miss your friends?
Not my school, just my friends.
Do you want to give a shout out to any of them? Which friends do you miss?
Yeah, give a shout out to them.
Name a few that you miss.
Lydia, Allie, and Holly.
Oh, those are some good
Shout
friends.
out to y'all out there. Elsie misses you.
Yes, definitely. And we haven't even really experienced a full winter yet. We heard that this year was actually really different for South Dakota. So
Very mild.
when we came in January, February, and then moved here in the end of February and been here through March, starting in March pretty much, I was told that, like Jared said, it was very mild of a winter, that normally there's way more snow, and it is cold still, but there's more snow, and there just wasn't. I think when I put the kids in the school, the principal even told me that they had no snow days this year.
Yeah.
It was just they just went to school.
We have yet to figure out what a true winter looks like, but we're going to figure it out, Elsie.
Yeah,
so,
pretty soon.
Okay, those are some good things that you miss. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Anything else you miss in New Mexico?
Nothing? Think deeply.
Parker had some good things
Yeah.
he missed in New Mexico.
I missed Dion's and Pizza Barn.
Dion's
And Pizza Barn.
Food, okay.
I agree with those.
Yeah, I don't know anything else.
Any people?
Ooh.
I did say people.
Like who? You said 3 friends.
3 friends.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Grandma and Grandpa? Okay.
All right, we had to give her a little push on that one. She forgot who she missed, but
Yeah, that's totally okay, though. So, Elsie, what are some things that you find nice about South Dakota?
It's like it feels like it's more. It feels better than New Mexico because New Mexico, it's like sometimes it's really hot here, but it's also sometimes really hot here, but it's just better than New Mexico. Like the days, sometimes it's like really cloudy, but it's warm and it's not raining, I like that stuff, and it's like that sometimes.
what else do you like about South Dakota?
Any things that you've done lately that you've enjoyed, places your mom's brought you, foods that you've tried?
Oh, I like some swimming, and And then mostly swimming.
Okay.
I got to say that the parks here are quite amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The park systems here are just immaculate and clean.
Plus, as a family, we just picked up tennis. So that's
Tennis.
a new one that we all have some tennis rackets. And we've just been, I think I bought those tennis balls like a year ago.
And we
I've been
finally
like waiting to use them. So now we finally got to use them.
finally started playing. Those are some really nice things. Now, here's one thing that I can guarantee you guys. I don't know when, but we will explore the rest of the state as a family very soon.
Mm-hmm.
We have Mount Rushmore to go and check out, the Black Hills. There are so many amazing things about South Dakota that we have yet to experience, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. What do you think, Elsie?
I think it'll be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, should be a really good time. So, Elsie, we're going to have our next and final guest up, who is the eldest. And before I do that, I want to share a little bit of advice with you. You heard a little bit that I shared with your brother. Is that right?
Yep.
The way I describe this is I hope one day that these podcasts are sort of a digital journal of how your dad thinks and feels and your mom. And I hope that you're able to listen back on it because we never know how long we're going to be here. And so some of the advice that I had shared with your brother, you got to hear. And I want to add on to the don't overthink comment that I gave to your brother because you're a little bit older. And you're a little bit sassy. I can see just a little sassy. You're smiling, right?
She's a middle schooler.
Yeah, she's a middle schooler. She's just a tiny bit sassy. And so to guide you on your journey of life, I wanted to provide a little bit of not feedback, advice, fatherly advice on this Father's Day. And the first piece of advice that I wanted to provide to you was it's going to be a continuation of what I shared with your brother. And that's don't overthink the gospel or the good news of Christ. It's designed to be very simple, not complex. Some people don't understand that Jesus, when he gave his gospel, the good news, he was really demonstrating that we all have an opportunity to come to Christ as little children. Did you know that salvation is that simple? Jesus doesn't make it hard for us to get to heaven or back to him. He makes it very simple. He says, "Come unto me, all ye little children." It's a very simple thing to be a Christian. It's hard living your life out as a Christian because you're doing the right thing and you're turning away from sin. But it's not meant to be complex. Don't overthink the complexity of the good news of Christ. That would be the first thing I want to share. The second one is going to be one that I found is more important. Over time, for me, it's been more important because I've found my strength in it. And that is love your family. They're not always going to be around. I know that sometimes your brother, he kind of gets in your way and he does things. I know that sometimes your older sister also can frustrate you a little bit. But you want to know what? I had a little brother who I loved dearly, and he died a few years ago. You remember Uncle. And some of the times that I think about how much I miss him, I wish that I would have really treated my family like they're not always going to be around. Did you know life is very short? We want to make sure that we make the most out of life. And it can be hard loving people sometimes. I know that I'm always lovable, so that's not hard. Right? But all kidding aside, we really need to love our family. Family will not always be around. Family is what makes home, not an actual physical home. Mm-hmm. So even though we've relocated, I'm very grateful to have my family here with me. And so on this Father's Day, Elsie, I want to say I love you very much.
Love you too.
Thank you. And up next, we have the one, the only, the eldest, Charlize Colombel. Charlize, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, you?
Doing awesome. So you got to hear a little bit about some of the advice that I provided to your siblings, and I wanted to provide some to you when we're all done. But with you, I get to have an opportunity to have a more complex conversation.
Oh, yeah.
You're a very smart person. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You're an author. You're a reader, which amazes me.
She's a writer, too.
She's a reader and a writer.
Reader and a writer.
Can you share real quick with us about how many books you read per day?
2 to 3.
That is quite a bit of reading. You know that the more you read, the smarter you are?
Yes.
You definitely got a lot of knowledge in your mind. It's a pretty great thing.
Yeah.
So Charlize, I'm going to actually just call you by your nickname, Shar.
Sure.
Shar, I have not had you on the podcast yet, and since we had our last episode, we have not been able to share with everybody that we moved to South Dakota, and now we have. And so today we got some prodding questions about South Dakota, but do me a favor, give me more expansive answers because I think that you have a expansive mind. Okay. So first and foremost, I think that our big move to South Dakota has prompted a lot of change.
Mm-hmm.
Good change, would you say? Well,
Yeah. No.
let's say challenging change.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think challenging, but I think most of it has been for the good.
Would you say most of it's been for the good?
Definitely, yeah.
I would say so too. Elsie got to talk about her capybara, right? So we were talking about maybe her starting up a capybara farm. I don't even know if that's possible. But there's been a lot of challenging change, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
My role here is a little bit different, right? I got my challenges ahead of me, but I think it's been really good. But I think we want to ask you a few questions. Mom, do you have a question for Charlize?
Yes, Charlize. How has your life changed since relocating from New Mexico to South Dakota?
Ooh.
It's been a lot easier.
Oh gosh.
It's been so much easier.
Okay, and what has been easier in South Dakota?
School is easier.
Okay, you're the third one to say that so far.
Yeah. I think there's just a lot less to worry about, less stressful.
Now, when you say a lot less to worry about, what are you referring to?
The environment.
The environment. So you
Yeah.
mean like the people? And
Oh yeah, people are
okay.
a lot nicer and friendly.
A lot nicer and friendly.
You enjoy that?
Oh yeah.
You don't like the challenge of a little aggression?
No,
No,
I don't miss
okay.
it. No.
I would agree with you. It's a they call it Midwestern nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so people down here are quite different.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can just pass anyone on the street and they'll just say hi and you're like, oh, hi. Like you don't expect people to talk to you, you know.
People genuinely down here are very nice.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. We got to talk to the neighbor today finally.
Yes.
I've been trying to not talk with the neighbors because I wanted to give everybody a little bit of time to acclimate to the Colenbell family. Right? We're a little chaotic if people don't know that. And so we finally got to talk with the neighbor and that was awesome. And so it's a great change to meet new people, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
So how else would you say your life has changed besides school and all that? How do you feel like it's changed since let's just say referring to school, what has been one of the big changes? Because you came from a school that was like what to what it is now. What was your school before?
My school before was, I think I had like 7 classes a day. They were all AP classes, and they were all like for the education level were a lot higher than the ones I was supposed to be in.
And the school is quite smaller. Do you remember how many kids
There's
were like even in your grade?
20 to 25
In your
max
grade.
In my grade.
Yeah. And now, how big is your school?
Oh,
It's pretty big, right?
probably 4 times the size.
Yeah, I think they have. It's like 1,600 students, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but so you went from like a really small charter school to now a pretty big school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was, and you didn't start at the beginning of the year, so you just kind of got thrown in it, and you were able to, find where you're supposed to be pretty quick, I guess.
Well, I will say, I think when you first started though, you felt like you were just kind of in the background.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's kind of hard to find a new community, new group of friends. And so I think you've done really well. I mean, we threw the kids in to school immediately. It was a little comical.
We got here. I think we got here on was it a Saturday?
We got here on a Thursday.
Okay.
And then on Monday,
They started. Yeah.
they started.
Oh, yeah.
And the story I mentioned earlier about a kid bribing me to take them to school because they wanted to avoid the cold weather. That was Charlize.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably
Hey,
the first
okay.
week. She got to learn what South Dakota weather was like, and it was a little much for you, right?
Yes, it's way too much.
Well, Charlize is very similar to me, where we're just kind of always cold. So
Yeah.
like
Perpetually cold.
yeah, all the
All the
time.
time.
The other two run hot. The kids are always hot and sweaty,
Oh,
but this one's like me, where we have to wear sweatpants everywhere we go because it's freezing.
Freezing.
Yeah.
I laughed because the kids, the 2 younger ones, they took their bikes they would ride their bikes to the bus stop, and the bus stop was probably 200 feet away.
Yeah.
So they would ride 100 feet, drop their bikes, and then walk the rest of the way.
yeah.
That's acclimating. But I would say that you have acclimated fairly well to the school. We threw you guys, and I use that word very important because we wanted to get you guys engaged right away. I had to do the same. I got started at work right away.
Yeah.
So we moved here, and then a few days later, I was
think-
off to the races.
I think you started the same day they went to school. So like
That's correct.
that was your starting date. So it was just me by myself.
Well, that's probably an even more interesting story is, what did mom do with her time?
Oh yeah.
I unpacked stuff.
You unpacked stuff. Okay.
I did, because both places I unpacked stuff fairly quickly. Like we've been here less than a month and pretty much everything's unpacked.
Well, I mentioned that because you went from having sort of a career to being a full-time unpacker.
Mm-hmm.
But you're doing really well at it and figuring out how to get us settled. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I definitely liked working. So this has been a little different for me to not work.
Well, I know that you and I are going to try to figure out what Charlize is going to do. Charlize, have you thought about work? Because you're now of working age, so you're able to go and work at. I think you said that your dream was to work at the Dollar Tree. Just kidding.
No.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, that's
That
another.
was yours.
That's
not
another
mine.
thing, though.
I want the discount at the Dollar Tree. That's why.
Oh my gosh, that's another thing that we've noticed about South Dakota, though, is she's 16, which to me in New Mexico that seems kind of average to start working, but out here most kids that are 16 have already been working for a couple of years. So a lot of them start at 14, and we realized that with hiring certain people for jobs, I'll call and then a bunch of teenagers show up, and I'm like, oh, not what I thought, right?
Yep.
Had some experience with that.
Well, Charlize, are there any other things that have been big changes for you with the relocation from New Mexico to South Dakota?
Besides the weather, school. I would say one is living in closer proximity to other people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely been different.
yeah.
Because before we were talking to your brother and sister about having, well, I don't know if everyone knows this, but 13 acres and even more, because we own 13 acres, but there was nobody around us. Like we had two lots.
Free reign with all the forest.
Oh yeah, for sure. So definitely
That
had
felt-
more space to roam, I guess.
It felt more spacious. Well, I think that there's obviously a lot of change, and in that, there's going to be things that are missed. Is there anything that you missed from New Mexico?
Oh yeah, food.
Oh,
food.
it's
Food.
you're all about the food, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, share with us what sort of things did you miss?
What places, what type of foods?
I miss Sadie's.
Oh,
Sadie's really badly.
my gosh, you and
I
your
miss-
brother.
I miss Dion's.
Oh, Elsie.
yep.
Oh my gosh.
I got
you
some
guys.
similarities here.
I miss Blake's.
Blake's-
Blockades.
Blockades.
Oh, I
Oh,
miss
Blake's
their.
is good.
What from Blake's do you miss?
A burger.
A burger.
What kind of burger? It's you got to let people know.
Okay, bacon, green chili.
Green
Like
chili.
Bacon and green chili.
It's the green chili. They have no
Yeah.
green chili here.
Nope.
Just so you guys know, I have a boss of mine, a former boss of mine, coming up here for an event soon, and I told him, smuggle me some green chili.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna do it legally though, right? He's gonna board the plane and probably check it.
course.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And so I really hope to get us some green chili, guys.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I miss food too. What other things do you miss from New Mexico?
I definitely miss my friends.
Miss your friends. Okay.
Well, you can give them a shout out if you like.
Which friends do you miss? You
A
could just
lot
name a
of
few.
them. Brooke.
Brooke.
I miss Brooke, Eliana.
Do you miss any of those Ramashottis?
Oh yeah, I miss Kelsey.
Yeah, you miss
I miss
Kelsey.
all of them actually.
Yeah.
Yes, we miss our friends too.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had some good friends there in New Mexico, and that was hard. I think that was the hardest thing. Is sometime when we left. I think it was like one of the last days before we left. We had a bunch of people come back to back and
Yeah.
visit, and that was really hard. So
Well, you even had a friend who moved and was coming back and was excited that on her way back she was going to be able to be in the same city
Yeah.
again, and then we're on our way out.
yeah,
so
she's
that was
moving back
interesting.
soon. Like
Yeah.
really soon, and she's been gone. Lives in Arizona for some time, and now she's going back to New Mexico, and I am gone. So,
Yep.
You know.
Well, I miss the food too. I miss other things there. Do you miss anybody from New Mexico?
You mean like family?
Anybody?
Oh yeah.
Family?
I miss my grandparents. Oh, I miss Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. Yeah, that's
I
a good
miss
friend.
Patrick.
Patrick as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a good
those are
friend.
some great relationships that we had. And I think you're going to have a great opportunity here to build new relationships.
Yes. Now, what are some things that you find nice about South Dakota?
Oh, everything's green. There's
Everything's
grass
green. Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that is different because in New Mexico, it's like there's barely any grass. I
Oh, yeah.
remember
The
growing up.
barren desert.
Well, there used to be grass, and then as
Yeah.
I got older, it's like all these, properties just started putting xeriscape everywhere. So it's different seeing that here with so much greenery everywhere.
Well, there's bodies of water everywhere here.
Oh yeah.
You know, you have these retention ponds everywhere because there's so much water.
Mm-hmm.
The fun part about those are the ducks and the geese, and there's so many different wildlife here that's very
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, like even seeing ducks daily is weird because
Oh, yeah.
once in a while we'd see them in New Mexico, but not flying overhead. So it's weird because they're constantly flying over us. There's always ducks around.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of raccoons on the side of the road.
Oh, the raccoons are
gross.
everywhere.
And a lot of deer too, surprisingly.
Deer,
a lot of deer. I
possums.
didn't think there was going to be so much deer. Now, one thing that I think that we did have that we saw in New Mexico that I haven't seen out here, which I probably won't in this area, is our bears. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
did have
Oh, yeah.
bears. So, but there's no bears here,
Well,
not in this area.
I think those are some really great things about South Dakota. Are there any other things that you find nice about South Dakota?
Oh yeah, just like the areas in general, it's a lot nicer. There seems to be a lot less homeless.
Yeah, there's
It
quite a
seems
bit
lot
in New
nicer
Mexico,
In
right?
general, yeah.
Yep. And that was a ministry that you've been doing with us for a while with the homeless, right?
Yeah.
And so, not to say that we despise the homeless, the populations are just different. We worked the homeless ministry for quite some years, and in Albuquerque in particular, the homeless population exploded.
Yeah.
And so it was much different. Down here, it's much more under control, is what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I would say so. And plus, it seems like the homeless in New Mexico are on a completely different level than out here. It's since we've been out here, I've rarely seen anybody kind of out of it. If I've seen any homeless, it's you can tell maybe some seem a little bit drunk. There's a couple, but in New Mexico, it's like you drive down one street and you're just seeing people passed out and hunched over everywhere, and it's just trash all over the place. And
Oh, yeah.
I remember that's one thing about moving here is when we came here, I think the first time we met a lady who said she went to New Mexico, and she was talking about how beautiful it was. She's like, oh my gosh, the weather was beautiful. She said, but the city was so trashy. And I had to agree with her on that, is that New Mexico, or I should say Albuquerque, has just gotten so full of trash. And that's kind of unfortunate because it is such a beautiful city.
Oh yeah.
And out here, there's some trash, but it's definitely not
It's
anywhere.
far more under control
Yeah.
here. I would say that prompts something in my mind and in my heart, which is pray for Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were out there doing that ministry, and I would do street preaching, and I would pray for Albuquerque
Yeah.
because God still loves his people and desires for them to come to him. And I think Albuquerque is a strong demonstration of people who are gravitating towards darkness. You know, there was definitely I would call it a demonic spirit about Albuquerque, where I feel like so many things are going for it, but there's just such a dark presence that it needs prayer desperately. We got
Yeah.
lots of friends and family still there, and we got
Yeah.
to pray for it.
Yeah, agreed.
But living there, it feels normal, right? Like,
Yeah, it's normal to us.
yeah, it feels normal. So moving here, it feels way different. That's like, wow, that isn't normal.
Oh yeah.
But yet you're living in it. So it seems normal to see people slumped over and just walking the streets all day, pretty much,
yeah.
So.
Well, you know what? God puts us in very specific places at very specific times to do
Yeah.
very specific things.
Well,
And I think we're here for that reason.
yeah, and I want to get plugged into some kind of group. I've been looking to see if I could get plugged into some kind of group and help out with the homeless
Absolutely.
here in
Oh yeah.
Sioux Falls. And like Jared said, Charlize has helped us for years, and I definitely have appreciated that too, because we do have kids. Since I've been doing the homeless, which has been 5 years, helping feed the homeless and all that, we've had a lot of kids kind of come with their parents, and a lot of them seem to sit in the car or sit down, and they don't really help. And I appreciate that. My kids, we try to find something that they can do that's not dangerous for them either, but Charlize has been a big part in helping with that, and it's really taught her to talk to people that normally she wouldn't encounter. So I think that that's really helped with the person that she is today.
Absolutely. And God calls us to those acts of service, and I think you've done a great job. One of the things I want to say on this Father's Day to you, Charlize, is that I've enjoyed watching you tremendously grow in the knowledge and grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. I know that your relationship has seemed to mature a lot, and I appreciate watching you at church, worship, raising your hands. That's something that I think is kind of frightening for a lot of young people. And so I want to encourage you to continue to live out your faith. I think your faith is your own. You're getting ready to what I would call fly the nest. And not that we're kicking you out, but eventually you're going to make and carve your own path. And so one of my encouragements is, and I shared it earlier with the other kids, is you really need to chase the gospel and not overthink it. It's very simple, but I think loving Jesus is a hard thing for many people these days.
Mm-hmm.
And they find it to be, they overthink it.
Yeah.
I had shared that with your sister. Don't overthink the gospel. It's good news, and other people want that good news. But I've enjoyed watching you grow in your relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and I've enjoyed spending time with you in church. And I think it's fair to say we found our home church. That's probably a big announcement for us, as we've been searching for a church. That's kind of hard to do. You know, you look for so many particular things, and you're trying to make sure that you are where God wants you to be. And I feel fairly confident that we found the church that we're supposed to be at. And so that's a really big revelation. And so what I want to do is what I did with the other kids and provide you with a little bit of advice. And I'm using these podcasts sort of as a digital journal. I think if I can do this more often, Lord knows how long I'll be here. I don't. But maybe one day, if I'm not here and you're still around, you can refer back to these podcasts and go, oh, yeah, that was Dad sharing some advice. And so some of the advice that I shared with your siblings, you can listen to the podcast and hear what I had shared with them. Obviously, ensuring that we prioritize God as our ultimate pursuit is very important. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that you continue to pursue Jesus. I say pursuit because we need to chase after him. It's needed more than ever in this life. And so I want to encourage you to pursue him. You're a young lady, and you're obviously going to be able to form new relationships. And so as you start to form new relationships and you look for that life partner that you're seeking, make sure that that person is also pursuing Jesus.
Yeah.
That's of the ultimate importance. And I think that you'll find your satisfaction and gratification in life will come from being holy and fully in Jesus and having a really strong relationship. And so I want to make sure that that's something that you think about and that you keep at the top of your mind and the top of your heart. The other one that I wanted to share with you is probably a little bit more of a dadism, and it comes from kind of my thought process, which is take some calculated risks. Life is meant to be an adventure, not a planned out journey, but an adventure. Yeah. And I think that as I grow older, I find that there's so many things to enjoy. And Americans in particular are so concerned with materialistic things that they don't look at the things that they can do that are more journey-based, that are more adventure-based. And so I'm hoping that we get to explore this entire new state of ours in South Dakota. We can go see Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills, the other things out there. And so you're a young lady with a bright, beautiful future ahead of you. And I hope some of this advice helps you to really carve out a path. Mm-hmm. So on this Father's Day, I want to say that I love you.
Well, I love you too, Dad. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And she's your firstborn, so she's the one who you got to celebrate Father's Day before I got to celebrate Mother's Day, because she was born in May after Mother's Day. So so Dad got to celebrate first. Well,
it's been an awesome journey that God has put me on. I always knew that fatherhood was something that I desired, and when I first met Cora, some of our very first initial conversations were actually on how many kids we wanted. We talked marriage, we talked children, we talked God, we talked a lot of things when we were just dating. And that was very important because we desired to have the same things. And I think that being a father has been the most challenging and the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't change it for anything. It's difficult, but I do look at it as a blessing. And I'm just very, very grateful that God has really given me this office. The office of fatherhood is a very, very important one. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We aim to help others live a dedicated, devoted life. If you want to come alongside us in partnership, please check out dedicateddevoted.com and make sure to subscribe. Join us next time for another episode of Dedicated Devoted. We post a new episode periodically. We hope you join us again. God bless.